Morning. I've come to a realization. You could say that's been quick because it's only taken me a couple of days of YouTube, or you can say it's been disastrously slow because it's taken me 10 years since I first made YouTube videos. And the revelation is that what I've spoken about over the last, I've made 3 videos, haven't I? Getting to the facts of what a human being is and how it works is not really interesting to any YouTube watcher or human being out there if they have friends. In other words, the only person or people that would be interested in how the human brain works would be people that don't have friends. I don't know that I would have realised this so quickly after these 3 videos if it hadn't been for when I last stopped kind of doing YouTube videos en masse and went over to economics and money and specialised in banking, quantitative easing and things like that. The realisation is from both subjects. I think the priority pyramid does come into it, because I'm the sort of person that doesn't have friends. So it's hard for me to judge other people's priority pyramids, but I'm not that far out of it that from various interactions I've had in my life and reading books and now audiobooks that I don't get a reasonable idea about what people do go around thinking about. Basically, knowing how things work and wanting things done logically, let's say, I'll use the word logically, I can't think of a better one, rationally, that you get the idea from that anyway, is not in the repertoire of a normal human being. It just is not. I don't know if it's not interesting. It's obviously interesting to some, but it's not part of anyone's life. I think I can better explain this perhaps by the banking examples. I've stopped the website on economics now, but I'm in touch with a couple of the people that were commenting. And I put out a paper that's been put out in America somewhere about banking, how it works, how it gruntily actually works. And it's the first one I've read really that's been written since there were a few between the Second World War and 1960, but before, let's say, the First World War, this is the way banking was described as working. It is the way banks work. But it seems to have gone away. And for, let's say, the 10 years of the economic crisis, banking has been at the heart of it. But working out how banks work, what they actually do, what quantitative easing actually is, has not been interesting enough for even the experts in the field. There are very few on the Financial Times that understand it properly. You can tell by the way they write. There are the very few, obviously, economists that understand it. The hedge fund managers and all this sort of people, and bank top people like Diamond and Diamond, if they understand it, they never speak about it. So this absolute earthquake that has shaken the entire world's finances hasn't moved the priority pyramids of the most important people in the world to actually go and look to see what actually caused the crisis. And this will be the same for you, probably, if you've got friends, and me talking about the eye and how the brain works. It just doesn't relate to anything in your priority pyramid. Just like how banking and quantitative easing really works didn't relate to anything that even financial journalists had in their going on in their lives, or bankers, or politicians, or anybody, because it just didn't relate to the stories that they were telling each other. They had the stories that they were telling each other. And part of a priority pyramid for most all people that have friends are little ones that you'll understand. I can't say how far up they are or how they're constructive, but they come under the heading of don't upset Auntie Mary, don't upset William, don't upset the boss, don't upset this person, don't upset that person, don't upset this person, don't upset that person, don't upset that person, don't upset this person, don't upset that person. These are all, in most people, everybody's priority pyramids of people that have friends, because it's part of having friends that you have in your priority pyramid. Don't go upsetting them. And it's so much that the experts in the banking field would rather stick with their priority pyramidical ideas of not upsetting people, rather than going and 10 minutes would it take? Half an hour at most to actually find out how things worked. Maybe some of them did it, maybe a lot of them did it, because people are inquisitive. But then they kept their mouths seriously shut. There could have been rooms full of people, let's say, that all kind of knew, but all knew that it would upset the various people in that room if they actually talked about it. So nobody talked about it. And this is what I have realised on YouTube, that if I want to talk about how the brain works, I would have to talk to people that have no friends, that basically are nutters, like me. And quite frankly, I don't think I want to do that. I'm not that much of a nutter. So this little idea that popped forward, I put forward, and I accepted that it was a good idea to remake YouTube videos. Where to start? Oh, I don't know. Start with free will and just see how it goes like last time. I see now that it's not going to go anywhere, because reasonable people, the normal people of the world, aren't going to be in the slightest bit interested. In a way, just like they weren't interested in how banking works or what quantitative easing really was and how it worked in the economy. Which you could say is a bit of a problem for me, because now if I want to communicate with normal people, I have to come up with normal subjects. And that is a bit of a problem for me, because normal subjects and communicating them in a normal way, like we see in normal life on YouTube videos, television, and down the office and the shops and in the pub, that's why that doesn't attract me, and I don't go there. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I've kind of been waiting for comments to reply to, and then I could interact with the comments a bit. But I realise from my past experiences on YouTube that the comments come from this side, from the... There was not a meeting of minds. I wanted to be over here on the facty side, and people wanted to be over here on the chatty side. And the chatty side tried to tell me that I was wrong over here, because the way they understood something over here. And I'd go, oh dear. But the chatty side, which is 99.99% of the world perhaps, 99% I don't know, most everybody anyway, aren't interested in over here, because over here's, it won't impress anybody on the priority pyramids. It won't impress Auntie Marjorie at all. It won't impress your parents. It won't impress your spouse or siblings or friends down the office. They're just not interested. If you'd seen the latest episode of Game of Thrones and wanted to discuss that, you're in. But how quantitative easing actually works in the economy, they're off that way and you're left alone going, but it is quite interesting. But no, the world works on stories. They don't have to be true. They just have to conform to the way people expect stories to be told. And as long as you keep with the narrative of the stories, the way that people think that they should be told, you'll have friends, and that is one of the most important things to a human being. It means just about everything. Even next door's donkey doesn't want to listen. So I'll say goodbye for the moment, but if you feel compassionate in comments, you could suggest something for me to do in this situation if I do wish to communicate on YouTube. Because sticking to the facts is not going to do most anybody any good at all, because people don't deal in facts.